And hello, everybody. This is Dear Mama Sal, and we're doing our Soul Work Sunday today. So I'm really pleased to be doing that. Hi there, Beth. Good to see you there. For those of you who are new or watching this on the replay for the first time, let me just try and explain how we do this. The first little bit, we normally do some news, views, and updates. We're like an extended family of people. And so we like to keep up to date with, who's doing what and who might need support, and do everything we can to give it to them. So hi, Kerry, and hi, Marie, and hi, Jody. Wow. Boom, boom, boom. And so that's what we will be doing. So if you're watching on the replay, underneath it's going to say from 00 to a certain time, news, views, and updates. And then it's going to say from this time onwards, the topic. And today's topic is Soul Work Sunday. We always do a Soul Work Sunday. That tree doesn't quite look right without the lights on it, does it? But never mind. It's coming down. It's in the process of coming down any minute now. All right. So to begin with, I don't believe we've got any birthdays, but something tells me, Jody, if you could make a note, please. I need to update. I know I've got a couple of birthdays hanging in the to-do section of my work, and I know that I didn't put them in, and I've got a feeling one of them's in January. So that is concerning to me, and I don't want to miss them. So for those of you who don't know, Jody is my admin, and she takes wonderful notes for me during the broadcast, and then even better, reminds me about the things until I've got them done. So it's really important to me that I don't know how I clean forgot that one, but I did. So I don't believe, as I said, I don't believe we've got any birthdays or anniversaries. If anybody knows of any, let me know. But let me just do thoughts and prayers first, because I know that we have Lauren back in hospital, but we've got to give her 10 out of 10. She actually basically put herself back in hospital. She knew that her legs were not doing well. Her doctor is away for another week, so she couldn't get to him to get the attention that she wanted. And so she basically talked herself back into hospital, for which I certainly will all agree is a really good idea, because she was getting scared of what was starting to happen to her legs. That way she was guaranteed of bed rest, and she was also guaranteed, not having to get up to get meals. So that was very smart thinking. However, this is what happened to her. When she got to hospital, the nurses were busy telling her, we need you to get up every day and do this and do this. And Lauren's saying, well, actually, no, I'm not meant to be doing that. That's the whole reason I've come here. And they're going, no, really, it's good for your circulation, and it's good for this, and it's good for that. So we need you to do that. So Lauren actually asked me, actually Jody and myself, what should she do? And I said that I really thought she needed to say to the nurses, in a way, almost from a place of being a scared child, and say, I am really scared, really, really scared, because my doctor told me not to do anything. And now you're telling me the opposite of that. And I don't want to be in trouble when my doctor gets back next week. And so I'm happy to do what you're asking me if another doctor, not a nurse, but another doctor comes to see me and assesses the situation, sort of thing. Well, the interesting thing is that another nurse came forward and said, no, she totally agrees with her. So good. I'm very proud of Lauren for getting her weight. Thank you, Jody. I had a feeling we had a birthday coming up in the next couple of days. It's Niasha's. I'm eating my grapes, Jody. Well, they're so sweet now. It's funny, one of the things you notice when you start changing your diet as dramatically as I have, for those of you who don't know, I've been diagnosed with diabetes, but one of the things you really notice is sugar becomes sugar big time. You can really get the buzz. It's great. And whoever thought? Whoever thought that grapes were full of sugar, but I can assure you they are, just by the taste. So On the good news, if you didn't hear already, for those of you who've come in, I dropped 2.5 pounds in the last week, and I did it still eating shortbread, ginger snaps. I still had an ice cream, and I still kept my carbs down in the range of about 40%. So I am really, really, really proud of myself, because officially I have not been told what to do yet. But I'm trying to make sure that I pre-plan myself there. In other words, when they say to me, okay, this is what we want you to do, I will already be halfway there. Yes, I believe, hi Linda, I believe that frozen grapes are great in the summer. I actually am finding them, whenever I need a quick shot of something, I find a grape works well. And, you've already seen me eat 3. I've got a few more here because I'm behind on meals today. All right. I wanted to talk about the pre-prepping. Now, again, we always have to give credit to Beth on this one, because Beth was the one that got me into it. And I want to say that Beth kept saying, well, she's pre-prepping meals and da-da-da-da. And, I thought I should do that. If I pre-prepped my meals, I'd perhaps eat more healthily. Now, here's what I found out. And Jody confirmed this with me because I was talking to her about it. This week, I sort of wasn't pre-prepping ahead enough. And I ran out of one group of pre-prepped things like snacks or something. I sort of pre-prep in lunches, dinners, and snacks. And what I found was that I ran out of one segment. And as soon as I ran out, I was eating badly again. In other words, because I couldn't quickly go and grab what I knew was a healthy snack, I just grabbed the first snack I could see. So then I went back and talked to Jody about that. Because I wanted to know, is it just me being a bad person? Apparently not. I'm trying not to talk with my mouth full, but all these grapes are so good. So this is what I've got to tell you, that if good food is the first thing you see as you open up your fridge and it's all prepackaged, I just, for example, while I was cooking my breakfast, and what was my breakfast? It was a marble cheese and bacon roll-up. And I want to tell you, they are so good. I've got sort of now about 3 of them ready to go for future snacks. But while I was doing that, while the one was cooking, I actually made 3 more, and they are lettuce and feta. Again, a quick snack when I'm feeling, whole wheat wrap with lettuce and feta in it. So do you understand? It's like when you go there and it's already made, it's much easier just to open up that box and go, okay, I'll have one of those. So I did 3 bacon and cheese and 3 feta and lettuce. So those are ready. I thought I'd mention that in case anybody else is trying to do this. Hi, Judith. How are things in Ireland? I wanted to talk about this because I really recommend getting about 3 days ahead of yourself at all times. All right. So you know that at any time you've got 3 more of whatever it is that you need, 3 more meals. The other thing is I have allowed myself absolutely anything I want to eat. If I want to eat pasta, I make pasta. But here is the difference. I make the pasta, and then I put them into 1 cup jar, mason jars. And I can have 1 cup of pasta. Right. Linda's saying avocado, olives I don't do, but olives and chicken wrapped in lettuce. Yummy. Yes, exactly. And that's what I want to do. Now, I did have a question for all of you, seeing as I got a lot of you in the room at the moment. We keep talking about certain resources, and I'm trying to think, programs that I found or whatever. I was wondering if you would like me to keep that information, with Jody's help, of course, keep that information on a separate tab in the DearMamaSal website. It'll just be called resources, and I'll put the date and what we talked about and the resources. And then what I will do, if I really concentrate, is actually tag them all so that if you wanted to find all the resources we had about X, it would sort it for you. Can I get some feedback as to whether that you would find that helpful? So that you don't have to go hunting through, wait a minute, I know Sal talked about this, I wonder what it was. You know, you can just go to the resource page and you'll be able to find it. Hi, Kez, good to see you. I'll get a thumbs up on that one from Kez. Oh, that's it. Helpful from Beth. Hi, Beth. Good to see you. Helpful from Beth. I thought so. It came to me in a moment where I'm thinking, you know, it was something, you know, like the mind mapping and things like that. I was thinking, gosh, you know, books that I found. By the way, I went to go and get the book, the Michelle Obama book, but it's still at $20 on for Kindle. And I'm going, no, I'm going to wait until that drops in price a bit before I buy that. So, Linda's presently making crustless quiche Lorraine. That's interesting. All right, so everybody know what quiche Lorraine is? Funny enough, you know something, Linda? I haven't seen it over here. Isn't it funny? I think it's a European thing. How many of you make quiche? Peanut is Beth's dog, little puppy. It's not well. Yes, Jody, I'm not surprised that you do. All right, because, you know, because I'm not surprised. But it's not a thing that a lot of people make. So, Linda, do you want to let people know? Yeah, Judith, you see, is in Ireland. She knows. So, what is your favorite quiche? Because you can make them different flavor quiches as well. I seem to remember my mom used to make it with onions and quiche with onions and leeks and something else. I can't remember. I'm trying to think what the other thing was. Come on, what do you throw in a quiche? Basically, it's like a egg base, but it normally has a crust to it. That's the point that Linda was making. Normally you have a pie crust and you throw in, cheese and onion, right? Bacon and ham. Good, there we go. That's what I wanted. Some of the things that people throw in. So the thing is, ham and mushroom, bacon and shallots, wonderful. Yeah. So, but the point that Linda was making it's normally made with a crust of pastry, and she's now learning to do hers without cheese and spinach. I'm certain is great as well. All right. So everybody's going to be looking up quiche this week. That would be our recommendation. See what you can find. What was I stunned with? How many of you can understand that I was staying away from mayonnaise this week, for the last week, because I'm trying to lose weight? Well, something made me pick up my mayonnaise and have a good look at it. No carbs in mayonnaise. No sugars in my mayonnaise. I'm going back to mayonnaise. So we can do this one step at a time. Now, an update. I just wanted to let you know, if any of you want to join the walking program that's 3 of us are now doing, as you know, I'm doing a virtual walk to Calgary. I'm going to walk across the whole of British Columbia, up over the Rockies I'm going. Some of you know that Lauren joined in because she decided she was going to wheel her way down Tasmania. It was amazing. And then Jody, not to be outdone, said she can't walk and she can't wheel, but what she can do is arm rolls. How about that? And she is now on her way. She's already halfway down. Is it Spruce Street that you're going down? She's on her way. So I thought it was a wonderful thing to demonstrate that really we can all do a little something if we want to. And I want to tell you what we're finding is it's really interesting, because I don't know how many times Jody has talked to me about, Lionel's off to the baseball game. And now I'm asking which of the baseball fields that I can now see in her area, does he go to? So I'm learning a lot about her neck of the woods. So the other thing is I've asked Lauren to check something out for us. And I'm going to see if we can do what I call a group mission, where everybody can contribute to it. Maybe we, go around the world or something, I don't know. But, we do a group mission where I believe what happens is all your steps go into one pot as well, and that pot takes you somewhere else. Linda's saying sugar is in everything. Bread. Oh, bread. Here's a good thing that I do about bread. Somebody was saying that to me. Like, Sal, I'd have to give up bread, and I love my bread. Well, so do I. Don't get me wrong. What I've done, and I've got a freezer full of Kaiser rolls. So what I did was I said, okay, fine. I'm going to allow myself one Kaiser roll a week. How I eat it is up to me. But what I've done is I've cut the roll, which is probably this size, right? I've cut it this way into slices. The roll has now become my loaf of bread. And I can still have an egg on toast. Just the toast is smaller. I wonder if that makes sense to anybody. You see, this is, as I'm saying to everybody, my goal here is not to deprive myself of anything if I can get away with it. I am prepared to exercise so that I don't have to give up anything. And I'm pretty sure that there'll be a lot of people who would like to hear that. Like I said, I had pasta. I just had 1 cup, and boy, did I enjoy that 1 cup. By the way, you don't inhale it anymore. You taste it, because there's only 1 cup, so you better enjoy it. So I will go for my blood test this week. And that's one of the things I need to have a 2x4 about, because I won't want to do that. The reason for that, if it makes sense to you, the faster I go for the A1C test, the faster I'm going to get told what I have to do, unquote. Knowing, of course, that I don't have to do anything. This was the point that Yvonne made to me. She said, Sal, you don't have to do anything. Okay? They would like you to if you want to get healthier. But you don't have to do anything. This is your body, what you do with it. I'm looking at it, these are decisions I want to make my future life more enjoyable. I want to tell you something, Jody, you're right. Jody's saying, for those watching on the replay, Jody's saying, I love that you're refusing to have a victim mentality with this. I'm all about the win-win, Jody. You know me. This is like, if I think I'm losing out here, really, I won't do it. I'm a rebel. If you tell me I can't, you know what I'm going to do. So I assure you that I never realized my baking was so good until this week. And I say that because I want to tell you, when you allow yourself 1 ginger snap, you eat it a lot more slowly. And boy, does it taste good. So anybody else got any updates that I should know about? I've sort of spent more than my fair share talking about me, but it was a big week for me. A very big week for me. And I was happy with it. You know what I mean? I felt I did well in my first week. I know that the first week's probably the easiest in some ways. So anybody else got anything else that we need to know about, that you know about somebody else? You guys notice, those of you who remember Roseanne, she sent me the most gorgeous picture of herself. Now, she goes back a long way, apparently to our early days of Tiny Chat, but it was really, really an important thing to see because she looked so beautifully well. You know, she was beautifully made up. She looked magical. And I can remember her looking very different from that. All right, so Linda's saying her GP told her veggies first, eat your veggies first, and then the rest of the meal. Carbs are wanted less when eating. You know something, what I do every meal is I've got it in quantities, Linda, because that works better for me. When I do my evening meal, I have to have 2 cups of vegetables. Right? That's what I do. I make sure that it starts with 2 cups of fresh vegetables. I steam them. But that's the main part of my meal is the vegetables. On top of that, I will put some slices of meat, or if I have meat, or what did I have last night? But I always start with, that's the first thing I cook, 2 cups of fresh vegetables, steamed. So yes, absolutely. I'm very aware. I've noticed that I have not have a big craving for potatoes. I'm going to have half one today because it's Sunday, and that's it. Low carb vegetables. Some vegetables are bad. Okay, Beth, which ones should we stay away from? I'm sure I'm not the only one who wants to know this. What am I inclined to eat? Cauliflower, broccoli, cauliflower leaves, bok choy, carrots, not too many, but carrots. All right, let's see, onion. Sweet corn is sneaky carbs in the sweet corn. Now, for those of you who don't know this, that's what I found out. There are sneaky carbs all over the place. You think you're doing really well. You know, I'll have a quick snack of something and I'll go and check where my carbs are at. And I go, what happened to my carbs? What was sneaky in there? And I go and have to check it out and find out what it is. I actually find it quite interesting. All right, so anybody else got, Beth, I'm really interested. Which ones would you recommend we stay? Not that we can't have them, but don't have them as regularly. While you're typing that, Jody, I want to give you a time check for 22 and a half minutes. Yes, oats, I agree. How do you pronounce that? Quinoa? I never know how you pronounce that. I'm certain I've got it wrong. But I don't eat that anyway. But oats, I definitely do eat, but I've taken it down to once or twice a week. I was surprised, but on the other hand, it is very high in fiber. So therefore, you know, it's it's a bad thing that's good for you. Quinoa, thank you very much indeed. Quinoa, Marie, how kind of you to give me the phonetic of it. I knew I got it wrong, but you know, all right. So I really should try it because quite honestly, is it a bit like wild rice? Does it taste a bit like wild rice? Brown rice, rather? That would be my sense. Yep, so be careful, sneaky carbs in there. All right. Yeah, that's what I imagined it would taste a bit like brown rice. And by the way, brown rice is really quite tasty and it has a nice little nutty taste to it. I actually was quite surprised, and I'm making my snack pieces out of that too. All right, let's go on with this one. I thought today, as some of you had mentioned this, earthy, yes. Buckwheat, bananas, sweet potatoes, although they're great foods, but they're high in carbs. All right. So we'll make a note of that so that we know for in future. Thank you very much, Beth. I appreciate the input. You're always such a wealth of knowledge. You know, you obviously are somebody that loves to I think you said that to me, right? Knowledge is power. So thank you. Yes, a mixture of carrot and turnip is better than mashed potatoes. Yeah, good idea. Now, a lot of people don't know about turnips or don't eat turnips, but they don't call them turnips here, I don't think. Jody will let me know what they're called here if she can remember. All right, I get very confused because I still think of some of these things in the British way from way back 30 years ago or more. What we're going to do today, we're going to start our topic now. And because Rutabaga. Thank you very much indeed. I appreciate it, Judy. So what we're going to do is we're going to do quotes from Audrey Hepburn. And you guys asked for this, and I wanted to thank you. And if there are any other people that you would love to hear some quotes from, just let me know, and Jody will remind me, and I'll start putting them on the list. So these are the quotes that I found from Audrey Hepburn, and I think you're going to love them. And the first one is, I don't take my life seriously, but I do take what I do in my life seriously. Do we all get the difference of those two statements? I don't take my life seriously, but I do take what I do in my life seriously. Does that bring up any thoughts or comments from any of you? I was thinking back to December for those of you who watched that, and I didn't realize it, but a lot of viewers picked up on my body language when we were just about to go live, and I had asked Sean to do the prayer, and my body language was that of a linebacker, about to go into the NFL game, and and I said afterwards, definitely should not do that to myself. I said to myself afterwards that what it is I take doing Down Samba very, very seriously. And therefore, it totally made sense to me that my body language, was like, okay, fine. You know how the football players are all still moving. Betty White, what a great idea. Thank you, Kez. And Dr. Zeus. Yes, we should definitely have a few of his classic ones. All right, so let me go on. Great ideas. Thank you. I was thinking that you guys know who there are certain people that you really respect and love. And why don't I just include those in the quotes? This is the second one from Audrey Hepburn. There is one difference between a long life and a great dinner. In the dinner, the sweetest things come last. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, I don't know about you, but that gave me goosebumps. There is one difference between a long life and great dinners. In the dinner, the sweet things come last. That made me cry. Don't know why. Wow. Okay. Am I the only one that reacted to that? Didn't expect that. Interesting. All right. So while I'm waiting for any comments there, let me carry on. It says, you can tell more about a person by what he says about others than you can about what others say about him. Now, that obviously is him or her, but you can tell more about a person about what they say about others than you can by what others say about them. How many of you found that to be true? I find when I talk to somebody and they're really dissing somebody, I always say to them, yeah, they speak very highly of you too. In other words, 9 times out of 10, they have not bothered to check whether I like this person or not before they start dissing them. And I always like to remind people of that. You could have just been dissing my best friend, but you didn't realize it. And so I find just saying, that's interesting because that person speaks very highly of you too. It shuts them down in a hurry. But it also tells me, now, do we all have moments where we have a judgment? Yeah. I'd be very surprised if I have any perfect people in the room. But, the thing is this, be careful. I tell a story, some of you will have heard me say it before, that I was at the airport once. And I listened to two executives talking about firing a member of their staff. They were at the airport in the waiting area to get onto the flight. And they were really busy saying how they're going to ditch this guy and da-da-da-da and da-da-da-da. And, I just very quietly went and sat next to them. And then, as quietly as I could, and yet loud enough so not only they heard it, but a few other people as well, I said, you're sitting here in a public place discussing firing a friend of mine. First of all, what sort of executive discusses firing people in a public place like this? And secondly, you can be sure I will let him know. So he will have time to prepare. Learn a lesson, gentlemen. And I got up and walked away. I don't know about you, but it was like, who does that? Who does that? And it wasn't quiet. I was not eavesdropping intentionally. We couldn't help but listen to them. Okay. And how about this one? How do you like this one? I'm certain a lot of you are going to like this one. The best thing to hold on to in life is each other. The best thing to hold on to in life is each other. I am hoping that those of you who are part of DearMamaSal have found that sometimes maybe the only friends you got in that day is the people that you met here. And I am very happy for that. And the funny thing is that like all friends, people come, people go. But the main thing is, do they know where home is if ever they need it? And I'm always so surprised and delighted when people, when they're having a tough time, come back. And that is the very reason why we did this. It's meant to be that place you can come back to when the wheels start to come off and you need a safe place to vent and a safe place to talk about what's going on for you. And so I look at it and say, let's in our own way this year really make a conscious effort to hold on to the people that we hold dear. And how do you hold on to people that you love? Can you give me some input? What do you think keeps you close to people? What is it they do that keeps you close? Give me some input. You'll be pleased to know that's the that's the end of the grapes. Yes, communication. By the way, it doesn't have to be two-way. I have one friend who actually will leave me a voicemail and just as I'm sending you a hug, and that's all it is. And boy, do you feel it, Great. So communication is one way that people keep me close. Yes, when they communicate with me. I'd have to say care. I find that I am closest with people who genuinely care about me. And we'll talk about how they show that in a second. Yes, Jody, I agree. Laughter. People I can laugh with, I am inclined, and cry with, funny enough. I am in terms of the fact that they're genuine people, right? They some days I laugh with them, some days I cry with them. And there is no sort of good or bad about it. It just is what's going on. I think that's really, people I can do that with. I want to go back. How do you know if people care about you? What do they do or say in your life? Linda's saying to me, by telling my family that disagreements may happen and arguments too, but I'm not going to fall out over different opinions. Yes. No judgment is our goal, but I'd like to repeat, Jody, no judgment is a very difficult place to go to. And I think I'm a great one for saying limit your judgments, because I still think we all will. Yes, Beth, I'm not, something that doesn't surprise me. Beth saying that's true. I only cry with somebody I trust. Kerry's saying the same thing. Yeah. So you understand, that's why I say that the people I know are really close to me are people I can laugh with and cry with. And I know, yeah, I suppose you're right in that, Judy, that there's no judgment in that. Yeah. There's a vulnerability there, yes, that I am safe to be vulnerable. Yes, Kez, how about that one? They're in integrity. Their actions match their words. Okay, I've got a bit of a problem going on at the moment. I just want to warn you. I've got a little bit of, what do you call it? Ocular migraine going on. And for those of you who don't know, that's when your vision splits a little bit. And so I am looking a little bit like through a prism. So if I get some of what you say wrong, I understand I'm doing the best I can. And if you hear me sort of stumble a bit, it's because I'm trying to get focused as to, I've got two lots of everything going on at the moment. Yes, Linda's saying she would only cry with herself. Only person she trusted was herself. I want to tell you something, Linda. There are a lot of people that will relate to that. Absolutely. Yeah, it's not something I can control, right? It just came on. But I didn't think it was serious enough to cancel the broadcast. Just be patient with me if I sort of have to you see me sort of doing this. I'm trying to move the prism. For those of you who've had it, you know what it's like. It's like somebody took a cookie cutter and just shifted some of the words around. Carrie's saying, I cried last night and Mike held me until I stopped. I was overly tired and he was in a mood, but apologized for being harsh. Yeah. And Beth saying, I cried to my sister about something. She would hold it over my head and later for some reason. Yeah, I want to tell you something that is so true, right? Beth, that's why I always say, and you will hear me say that, which is do this with somebody who is safe. All right? And a safe person will not use this against you. Now, I've got to tell you something. I've also got really safe people who occasionally bring it back. And so we're crying with laughter because they trust me enough and know me enough to know, a week from now, this will sound completely different. And I've done that. I don't know if any of you have, where, something that was really, really very traumatic a week ago suddenly is quite amusing this week. Now, if you want a good visual, Yvonne came up. If for those of you who don't know, Yvonne is my tenant and friend of 20 years, nearly. But she came up to tell me something. And while she wasn't looking, Clarence, the cleaner, that's my robot cleaner, crept up behind her and hit her. Well, he just touched her shoe. But it wasn't something Yvonne was expecting. Even though you could hear him, she wasn't expecting it. And she jumped. And then she had to jump and try not to jump on top of him. And so then she sort of half sidestepped and rolled. And then she started to fall because she was wearing flip-flops and they weren't holding her feet properly. And she got caught underneath the flip-flop. And now she started to tumble. And now she's grabbing for my wall, and eventually she ended up on the floor. Now, obviously, my first reaction was, are you okay? I mean, that's all I had to find out because she was on the ground and she could have broken her hip. Anything could have happened. So are you okay? And she said, yes. And I said, oh, good, then I can laugh. And I think that describes it, right? That I cared greatly. I really did. But once I knew she was okay, it was so funny to watch from my side. And I really felt, it was a moment that we will remember. I always say that life is about memories. That will be one that sticks in my mind. Thank you, Linda, saying stop if I need to. Yes, I'm adult enough, and I appreciate the information. Linda, if I really thought I was getting a lot worse, I would let you know, and I would cut the broadcast. At the moment, it's still doable. So Kerry's saying, it made me cry, his bad mood. but I'm not sure what triggered the tears, but I just cried. Yeah, memories probably of a father in a bad mood and what that could bring for you. I normally find that those sort of things, are memories of our childhood. That's why the child reacts, is because they are memories. They're memories that come back from a previous place. I always talk about the librarian in my head that I call Jones. And when he sees certain actions or hears certain voice tones, Kerry, the chances are they're from your past. And he goes into the filing cabinet and he goes, that sounds like this one. Do you need this one back? And it might even be so quiet that you don't hear him, but that's what's happening. And it's really great that you're able to do it. And the more you can do it, the more it's going to help you. I have to say. Yeah, Linda's saying it sounds like a Norman Wisdom moment. For those of you who don't know, Norman Wisdom was an absolutely amazing British comic. Yeah, it really did look like, it did look like it came out of some comedy routine, but it would be difficult to repeat it. I'm just, there was part of me was so sorry I didn't have it on camera. And Yvonne knew that. So Beth said, someone being mad or in a bad mood makes me feel like I'm not doing enough to make that person happy. Well, there you go. You see, that's the whole thing. You're not quite at the stage where you accept that their behavior is their behavior and has nothing to do with you. Yes, not as much now. Good. But you have your moments. We all do, Beth. But keep working on that, right? Their behavior has nothing to do with you. And by the way, I always say that one of the most difficult things for a man, Kerry, from my experience, is a woman crying. If ever you want a man to feel helpless, cry. I think it's something I learned too late in life. And I'm not saying do it. I'm saying be aware of the emotional blackmail that crying does to a guy. Because guys are taught not to cry. Therefore, we cry and they are unable to match it. So think about that. I actually, when I cry in front of a man now, I apologize to say, I'm sorry. I am doing everything I am to get myself back under control. I don't mean to cry in front of you. This is my stuff. Yeah. Yes, and Linda's saying that she started to realize that she hates raised voices. Yes. People out of control is what you hate, Linda. Right? That's what loud voices are about. People not getting their way, so they get louder. How many of you have noticed that? How many of you know you do that? When you can't control a situation, you get louder. Oh, Beth, I saw a really good quote somewhere. I thought I would share it with you because I thought of you. Let me just read what you've said here. Yeah, Jodi's saying that Lionel gets a look of terror when Jodi cries. He looks so helpless. Yes, that's right, because he is. Beth is saying, I hardly ever cry in front of my husband. He thinks I'm Superwoman. It would blow my cover. I'm really a mess sometimes. Yes, and it's okay to be really a mess sometimes. Hi, Trina. We all had a super Christmas. Thank you. All right, Beth. I saw this thing come up on a news feed of a group that I'm in, and it had to do with a wife who didn't actually look at her husband when they talked. Her mind was busy on the cooking or cleaning or whatever. And it was a book written by a man. And he said, how can I ever hear you when you never look at me? And I thought, boy, Beth needs to hear that. And the reason, yeah, I know, Beth, and that's why I wanted to share it with you. How can Charles ever hear you if you never look at him? If you want Charles to hear you, stop and look at him and tell him. Or if he is talking, turn and say, honey, I'm sorry. What did you just say? And give him eye contact. It will blow him away. Kerry's saying, my normal moods are better under control, but last night I was a mess. You're learning. Layers of the onion, Kerry. We all take a couple of steps forward and one back. Remember? This is not about perfection. Give yourself a bonus point every time you control it, and give yourself permission to not be perfect. Yes, oh, Beth. Wow. All right. Is it okay for me to repeat that for the replay, Beth? Okay. Thank you, Beth. Thank you, Jody. Beth saying, I'm still afraid that if he knows who I really am, he won't like me. And I'm still hiding a little. Well, a lot, to be honest with you all. Yeah. If I actually am who I really am, not the one I pretended to be, will they still love me? Boy, I know that one. I used to get up on stage, Beth, and you can probably imagine me doing this. And I would say to audiences, exactly that. I would say, it's funny because you all have me on this pedestal because I'm a professional motivational speaker, and I get up here and you all pay vast amounts of money to come and listen to me and, buy my books and do this and do that. And I'm going, you do know that I'm really just like you. Right? And people don't realize that just because I was famous doesn't mean that I wasn't flawed. And so Beth, and I was saying, my biggest fear was, will they still like me if they find out that I'm quite normal? And so I got to ask you, now I'd be asking 7,000 people in the audience, what do you think? And the funny thing was, Beth, the people used to say to me, the reason that they loved me and always came whenever I was in town to speak, the reason was because I was so normal. That I was so vulnerable on so many levels, and they knew I wasn't faking it, that, I really was that flawed. So Beth, I want to tell you that understanding that you're scared, that people might not like you if they find out who you really are, as Linda says, it's a biggie. If you can verbalize that in front of the people in the room and the rest of the world that listens to this, if you can verbalize that, do you realize how far you've come? All right. Do you realize how far you've come? And to me, that takes a huge level of trust of the people in this room, but it also says how far you've come. So well done. I mean, that's why I cried. I cried because I know what it takes to admit that. Yeah, Beth's saying, I thrive at work. I made a big step to work with people. They like me. For me, yep. But it's different because I haven't been hiding, because I've been hiding from him for 29 years. I want to tell you something. Everything I know about Charles is he's not what you might call perfect either. I think Charles loves you regardless, quite honestly. You don't stay with somebody as long as Charles stayed with you without knowing who you are, Beth. It's not a surprise to him. That you're not perfect or whatever, or that you're doing these things to cover things. Any more than he is perfect, right? Please let him know I lost 2.5 pounds without too much aggravation. And I really wish him all the best. I know he's starting his no carb thing, and I just wish him all the best. I wonder if you could pass that on for me. Linda, a very good point. A very good point. You see, the thing that we end up finding out is the person we've been hiding from is ourselves. We were so scared to be normal. We were so scared to be vulnerable. We were so scared not to be perfect. Yeah, good point, Linda. So let's move on and just say that Audrey Hepburn's next quote will probably make a lot of sense to a lot of you. And she said, true friends are like families which you can select. How many of you know that sometimes the family you were born into isn't the one that you need? The one that you choose is the one that you need, right? Because you choose people that love you for who you are. You choose people who see the best in you. And so to me, you know, this is a really good quote. Really good. True friends are families which you can select. And quite honestly, they come up in the most surprising ways. The most surprising ways. You know, how many of you have met people in your lives and probably judged them quite harshly, maybe when you first met them, and they've turned out to be, yeah, they're Audrey Hepburn quotes. Yeah, Trina. And was it you that asked for them? I just said that, you know, I really like the fact that the viewers are asking for me to do the quotes from certain people. Yeah, well, thank you very much, because we're thoroughly enjoying them. And she was a very wise woman. And then, of course, the famous quote that you probably have heard many times attributed to her because it is so clever. It says, nothing is impossible, but the word itself says, I'm possible. If you think about it, the word impossible, if you put an apostrophe between the I and the M, it says I'm possible, not impossible. I love that one. And here, this one is one that we all can really benefit from doing. I really do try to live this one. And I'm trying to work on it more and more each day. The most important thing is to enjoy your life, to be happy. That is all that matters. By the way, to be happy with yourself, not at other people's expense or anything, just to be a happier person. And how do you do that? May I ask you all, have you learned enough now that you know? How do you make yourself happy? What have you found? what makes your life happy? Now, you all know, because we talk about it, laughter is a really big thing in my life. Integrity is a really big thing in my life. I feel much better when I'm in integrity, you know, when what I say is what I do. I'm happy when I'm playing, right? And I could be playing at learning something new, but I feel like I am playing and being creative in some way. All right, so Linda's saying it's late where she is. She needs some sleep. Oh, that's so cute. But so taking a moment, watching Sal and the Peeps, happy, healthy New Year. That makes you happy. I'm so glad. And to you too, Linda. Thank you for popping in. And thank you. I cannot tell you how many times I keep quoting your 5-minute rule or 10-minute rule about people being negative. It is such a good one. Jody's saying she's not living in anxiety anymore, right? She's learned that she created her own anxiety and she can control it. Jody, how did that feel when you suddenly realized this is within my control? They're not doing it to me. It's emotion. I'm doing it to myself. I want to tell you that is a magic moment. Now, it doesn't mean that you won't lose control every now and then, but you find that you will lose control far less. Yes. Enjoy the little things in life. And Kez is saying, enjoy the little things in life, like hearing my cat purr. Yes, to actually be in the moment, Kez. You have to be in the moment to be able to hear a cat purr, right? You're not busy. You are in the moment and Zen-like. Take that moment. Being able to do what I want and not fear if I'm different. If I'm different, that everybody will not like me, right? When I let go of that, I make others happy and myself. Yes, be who you are. You know, there's a famous quote, and I can't remember who said it, somebody will remember, but that says, be who you are, because otherwise you're asking people to love who you're not. All right. And they're not, you're going to have people like you and not like you either way. That I can't remember the exact quote. Somebody will probably know what it is. But it is so true. If they're going to dislike you, at least have them dislike you for the real you, not the one you pretend to be. How about that one? Yeah, Jody's saying, right, I'm not perfect with it, but I'm so much better. That's on the emotional stuff, right? You are, Jody. You're a lot better. Yeah, I see you catching yourself all the time. How about this great quote from Audrey Hepburn? She said, success is like reaching an important birthday and then finding out you're exactly the same. You know, you remember, like, people say, oh, I'm going to be 21. And then 21, you go, yeah, and? Oh, no, I'm going to be 40. Yeah, and you hit 40 and? But now I'm going to hit 60. Yeah, and? Well, now I'm going to retire. 65. Well, in my case, it was a lot later than that. But you know what I mean? It's just like, it's just the same. So Beth is saying, I have to say, I used to change my personality. Oh, God. Oh, I relate to this. Okay, sorry, Beth. I apologize. She says, I have to say, I used to change my personality to fit with whoever I was with. And let me tell you, it was exhausting. I totally know where you're coming from. Jody's saying, it took me 49 years to find out who I am. And hopefully, hi, Jamie, Happy New Year coming up to you. Jody, hopefully that you're happy with the person you found. And Kez is saying, being about to be myself and be silly with my friends. Yeah, you know, it's okay to be childlike. You know, and it's my favorite place to be. Some of you know that. How many of you notice that I have these two parts of me? One is very childish and the other part is incredibly adult at times. You know, it's just like, which one are you going to catch today? And I think what I love about my friends is they get me. You know what I mean? They know either one could show up. It depends on their situation as to which person I bring to play. But they're both me. They are both part of me. Oh, Beth, I'm so sorry that Peanut's struggling so much. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Peanut is Beth's dog. So how many of you have done that? How many of you have reached an important birthday and then found it to be a little bit of an anticlimax? Yeah, you know, Jody's saying to Beth, if she can still hear us, because Beth's just going outside with her puppy, but she said, I'm so sorry you felt like you had to do that, to change your personality. I am certain that Beth and I are not the only ones in the room that have done that. Yeah, now Trina's saying, with me, what you see is what you get. I'm a very honest. Some people get me and some people who do become friends, but only a few. Yeah, absolutely, Trina. You know, and the funny thing was that I realized it was my insecurity that made me play the game. And that's why, Jody, if you could please remind me to put this on the resource page, that people who understand this really want to read Children of the Lie by Scott Peck. because it really is true that at some level we were taught to lie and we were taught to become different people. I was given a lot of kudos in my life as a child for being able to entertain adults. They thought I was very entertaining as a child. And so I was trotted out, if you like, to entertain people. Well, is it any surprise that I continued that in some way? But, it also taught me not, that to perform. And that was a good thing and a bad thing. So Audrey Hepburn says, I've been lucky. Opportunities don't often come along. So when they do, you have to grab them. And I think it's fair to say that she did a good job of grabbing some great, you didn't see a lot of Audrey Hepburn, although she was the top rated actress at one point. But she picked her movies really carefully and they really seemed to fit her personality. How many of you felt that? You didn't think she was acting. When she played the part of the princess, with Cary Grant, you knew she was capable of that role because she was so regal in herself. When you saw her in Sabrina, you knew that she was perfect in that role because she was capable of being both people. And, I always thought that she had just incredible talent on so many levels. And then when she became the UN ambassador to the world, she did such a good job of that as well. And she said, as you grow older, you will discover that you have two hands. One for helping yourself and the other for helping others. How many of you feel that your hands are in balance? How many of you help yourself as much as you help others? So that's maybe something a lot of you want to concentrate on this year. Do I help myself as much as I help other people? And I would like to say that people I know that are in balance are really quite selfish with their time. But they're also quite good about setting boundaries. Hey, I'd love to do that, but I promised myself I was going to do X, Y, and Z, and I'm going to do it. I had two things happen to me in the last week, and I thought some of you would really relate to this. I got a telephone call on Christmas Day saying, I want to see you. I can see you this afternoon or tomorrow. I said no to both. Right? Because if you want to see me, please plan it properly. I should not have to stress out because you suddenly decide you want to see me. That is my view. All right. I won't do it anymore. I just refused the invitation. And then guess what? I wrote back and said, I am totally free on Saturday. And this was like Tuesday. I said that, right? That was Christmas Day. That was right. Tuesday. I said, but I am totally free on Saturday if that works for you. And I waited and waited and waited. And on Saturday lunchtime, I got a note that said, I could come this afternoon. And I went, no, too late now. Sorry. I've put other plans in. Now, in the old days, I would have accepted any of those invitations. I would have put myself under stress just so I could accommodate the other person's bad planning. So does that make any sense to anybody? But now, my life's too short. I'm not going to do it anymore. I should not have to put myself under stress because you can't plan your life properly. And basically, on when I had to say no to the second one, I said, please understand at my age, I need a little bit more warning. Yes, Beth, it does not surprise me that you drop everything for Victoria. Does not surprise me at all. Right. But, what you're doing is you're slowly changing that. And it's a good idea to slowly change it, Beth. You know why? It would be too much of a shock to her if you did it suddenly. Right? She's lived a lifetime of being able to shout, and when she shouts, you drop everything and you come running. And so, well done. And this is a great, great quote from her. She said, "Anyone who does not believe in miracles is not a realist." How many of you feel that you have seen a miracle in your life? How many of you, I always say there's no such thing as coincidence. How many of you found friends or found even DearMamaSal by accident? That it was, you were probably praying for somebody to listen to you, and then boom, the next thing you found us. Right. So Beth saying, shocked. She needed a ride to work the other day, and I said no, because she only gave me 30 minutes notice, and I just got into bed. I felt like a terrible mum, but maybe this will push her to get her own car. You are helping her grow up. I'm so proud of you, Beth. Yes, Jody. Wow. Listen to what Jody's saying as well. By the way, Beth, give yourself a serious adult point on that one. You're going to let her grow up to be one. Jody's saying, one of my goals for 2019 is to give myself the courtesy I give others, to protect what health I have left. You bet. Hey, Roseanne, good to see you. Roseanne saying, I remember being mad you didn't start the channel sooner. You mean in my life that I should have started it, 20 years ago? Oh, I think that's cute, Roseanne. That is really cute. Thank you for that. And then Trina's saying, I invited my parents to dinner at my house on New Year's Day, and my mom said, she'll get back to me on that one. I stepped up and text back, you can get back to me by this evening and let me know. And you didn't get a text, right? So you know that she's not coming. And you don't have to. Yeah, it was my duty, right, Roseanne? As soon as internet started to start, DearMamaSal, I'm sorry I let you down, honey. But I want to tell you, Roseanne, again with tears in my eyes, that when I think about memories on DearMamaSal, some of our early days past midnight are on there, while we were having the Bailey's milkshake moment. And I want to thank you for that, because nobody will ever take that away from you. And I've always said that, there are memories, some are good and some are not good, but there are memories about DearMamaSal that I really, wouldn't trade for the world. And so, it's really, I thank you, is what I'm trying to say. And Roseanne, I have to tell you, I have never seen you look better than you look now. I took one look at that picture of you and was just so moved. And I went, wow, look at how gorgeous you are looking. And that tells me you're looking after yourself in a way that I don't recognize, quite honestly. So Audrey Hepburn also said, for beautiful eyes, look for the good in others. For beautiful lips, speak only the words of kindness. And for poise, walk with the knowledge that you are never alone. Well, I got to read that again. That's so beautiful, isn't it? For beautiful eyes, look for the good in others. For beautiful lips, speak only words of kindness. And for poise, walk with the knowledge that you are not alone. Yeah, Roseanne saying that she lost a ton of weight from stress. Yeah, good for you. I love that as well, Jody. Trina, I can't thank you enough for suggesting we do her quotes. How are we doing on time? Right, we've got a little time. And the other thing that Audrey Hepburn gave us all permission for, a woman can be beautiful as well as an intellectual. Hi, Nyasha, how are you doing? Nyasha saying, hi, everyone. I just came in to say hello and find out how long the broadcast would be. I'll be right back. It closes in 20 minutes because I've got dinner to cook. Same as usual. Audrey Hepburn also says, I don't believe in collective guilt, but I do believe in collective responsibility. How about that one? I do think that we all, somebody wrote to me about December. I don't know if I talked to you about that. Yeah, we did you see that Beth's wishing you an early happy birthday, as do we all? Actually, I was going to wish you a happy birthday we're going to do an extra broadcast on New Year's Day. If people have asked for that, it will be 7:00 Pacific, my time. Now, hang on a second, everybody. Take a deep breath. I love this one. Audrey Hepburn said, I don't want to be alone. I want to be left alone. How many of you can relate to that? There's a difference in that. Yeah, Beth. Yeah, Nyasha, we'll wish you happy birthday on New Year's Day. So Audrey also said, let's face it, a nice creamy chocolate cake does a lot for a lot of people. It does for me. And she was thin as a rake, for goodness sake. How did she do that? I can almost hear her saying it. I don't know about you. I got some quotes here of other people talking about her. And they were saying that she, quotes about her said, she did the best that we could be. She was perfectly charming and perfectly loving. She was a dream. And she was the kind of dream that you remember when you wake up smiling. In a cruel and imperfect world, she was living proof that God could still create perfection. Wow. How would you like people to say that about you? Richard Dreyfuss said that about her. And Rex Reed said, in a cruel and imperfect world, she was living proof that God could still create perfection. Sounds like he copied somebody there. Okay, Audrey was the kind of person who, when she saw someone else suffering, tried to take their pain on herself. She was a healer. She knew how to love. You didn't have to be in constant contact with her to feel you had a friend. You always picked up right off where you left. Always picked up right where you left off. And who said that about her? Shirley MacLaine. The extraordinary mystique of hers made you think that she lived on rose petals and listened to nothing but Mozart. But it wasn't true. She was quite funny and ribald. She could tell a dirty joke. She played charades with a great sense of fun and vulgarity and could actually be quite bitchy. And Andre Previn said that about her. I think that's cute. Audrey gave more than she got. The whole world is going to miss her. And Steven Spielberg said that. The imprint of Miss Hepburn is absolutely, totally present. Like it or not, she'll be the most important look of the 20th century. Hi, Katie. Another quote said, She truly became our fair lady. The children of the world have lost a true friend, an important and eloquent advocate. And it was also said, also we can take a moment to appreciate the fact that there has never been and probably will never be another actress as thoroughly lovable as Audrey Hepburn. Yeah, she would have been great on one of these broadcasts. Right, so would you like some fun facts? I found some fun facts for you. Okay, just before we close this. She was a trained dental assistant. Did you know that? I didn't. Second, minutes after winning the Academy Award for the Best Actress in Roman Holiday, that was the one I was thinking of, Hepburn misplaced her statue, accidentally leaving it in the restroom. Sort of thing I would have. It was quickly recovered in time for her to pose for photographs. Yeah, I would have done that too. And Hepburn made a vow to herself never to exceed 103 pounds. With the exception of her pregnancies, she succeeded. Wow, can you imagine that? Her birth name was Audrey Kathleen Ruston. The Hepburn actually belongs to her great-grandmother. Hepburn resorted to eating tulip bulbs and attempting to bake grass into bread to survive while living under Nazi occupation in the Netherlands in World War II. I didn't know that either. Did you know that? Huh. A year after Marilyn Monroe famously serenaded JFK for his birthday in 1962, Hepburn performed the same song for the president for his final birthday in 1963. I didn't know this. Disney Princess Aurora was modeled after Audrey Hepburn. Can you believe that? Which one is Aurora? Which movie was that from? I know you guys will know. Anybody's got kids will know. And Hepburn's famous little black dress from Breakfast at Tiffany's sold at auction for approximately $920,000. This makes the dress one of the most expensive pieces of film memorabilia in history. Sleeping Beauty, thank you very much, Katie. I knew one of you would have knowledge of the princesses. So that little black dress that she wore in Breakfast at Tiffany's, it sold for close to $1 million, just under 920,000 for one dress, just to own it. I wonder who's got the cigarette holder. By the way, I used to have a cigarette holder a bit like hers. It was silver. Yeah, solid silver. It was beautiful. And you can probably imagine, right, in my day. So I'm hoping that some of you, I just thought the facts were fascinating because, you know, you always hear about this other side of her. You don't hear about the fact that she could tell rude jokes really well. You know, you don't hear that about her. You only hear the sort of elegant and, you know, giving side. So she was a very rounded person, I think you could say. Some say that I'm a very rounded person, but in a different way. All right, everybody. So I'm going to go off and cook some dinner. Now, you're probably wondering, what am I cooking? I'm going to be cooking steak for a change. And the reason I'm cooking steak is because steak's good for me. And I'm only going to have half a steak. And I am going to do some twice baked potatoes. The potatoes have been baking while I've been doing the broadcast. So that's the other thing I'm going to do. I don't have to eat it all. I can just have half or even quarter of one and I'm going to do a little bit of salad. Yeah, Beth would like hers medium rare. I do mine medium rare, so I'll put yours on with mine, Beth. And then I thought I might do mine Chicago today. Beth, do you like Chicago steaks? I think I've got enough oomph left in my heat gun. Yeah, I'm actually, it's my one day of the week where I cook potatoes. So I'm going to be doing, what I like to do though is a little sort of mix of real potato and sweet potato. If you're going to have bad stuff, let's have both of them. But they do taste good together too. Okay, Trina, you've got to describe mushy peas for people, because people in North America just, don't have a sort of a hold on mushy peas at all. Are mushy peas the ones that come out of a can? All right, Nyasha got to cook again. Another adult point, Nyasha, well done. But unfortunately, my feet are killing me now, and Mum had to take over. I cannot understand why my feet always hurt. Right. So that's why pre-prepping is going to be the way that you cook the best. Yeah, sure. I don't know why your feet swell like that when you stand. Yes, I want to tell you something. There are a few people who have that. Do they swell up? Is that what happens? My feet swell up if I stand in, if I don't move around enough. In fact, my feet are pretty swollen right now because I've been sitting on a chair for too long. But what I want you to know is definitely an adult point for in getting to cook again, even if you had to. Oh, they do not swell, they burn. What does the doctor say causes that? Do they burn at the bottom? Yeah, how far did you get in the cooking before your mom had to take over? I think what I'd like you to do, yeah, it sounds like a nerve issue to me as well, Beth. Yeah, but she's saying it's not that they swell, it's that it sounds like she's got nerve damage there. Yeah, you see, it's on the soles of her feet. Yeah. Okay, so here's the thing, Nyasha. You know that's what happens to you. All right? You know that's what happens to you when you stand too much. So your trick is to actually, do you have a fridge at home? I don't want to presume that you have all the things that people take for granted here in North America. But what I'm saying is you might want to plan a meal that you can prep in little parts during the week, and maybe pre-cook or do whatever and then reheat for the family meal when you're ready. I'm trying to think what would work for that sort of thing. But, a lot of meals you can pre-prep the individual things and then just bring those individual things together to create a meal, just so that you don't have to be standing so much. The kitchen was almost spotless. So did you find having the 2 bowls to helped you? And I hope you really, really thanked your mom for letting you cook. All right, that's the thing. The message you want to get to your mother is thank you for letting me start the meal. I'm sorry I couldn't complete it, but I felt so good being able to at least start it and learn how to do this for myself. So what we're going to do, Nyasha, if you would like, is we will start thinking of meals. I'm not sure what sort of meals do you try and cook? What was it you were trying to cook? You know, do you do sort of rice meals, or do you do pasta meals or stir fries? You know, what sort of meals do you like to cook for the family? Because what we'll try and do is find things that might be able to do sort of where you can be pre-prepping it. Well, I think you would have left very little mess if you had tried that 2-bowl thing. Guys, I've got to go. Nyasha, great. Nyasha, I did send you a question about the, you asked me to suss out a software program for you. I need more information on that one. If you have a look at my response to you, please check that out and give me an answer so that I can understand. The Trinidadian dish. Okay, fine. All right. So everybody, I'm sorry to run, but state calls, and that's important in my life. So I wish you all a very, very pleasant day. And we will see you on New Year's Eve, my time, at 7:00. This is Dear Mama Sal saying big hugs, everybody. Thank you for being here. And by the way, if Roseanne is still here, Roseanne, thank you for making my week. It was just such a pleasure to see you looking so well. Happy New Year to you, Rain. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, remember to look after one another, but please, 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 more than ever in 2019, please look after yourself. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, bye-bye for now.